appears the Del Mar Fair will go on as scheduled despite a legal battle going on behind the scenes.
The Gas Buddy mobile app can help us find the cheapest gas around town, but some are calling it a privacy nightmare.
Plus, the governor is finally releasing his gas rebate plan, which would put money back into your pocket.
The number of seniors experiencing homelessness could be on the rise in 2022.
And a new e-cigarette warning tonight from UC San Diego researchers.
And behind the famous food is a face you may not know.
Hello, welcome to Sammy's.
Sammy, coming up in the Zeppelin Zone.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
The 2022 Del Mar Fair will likely go on as planned, despite a legal battle that continues behind the scenes. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. The public agency responsible for putting the fair on is battling a lawsuit that accuses it of corruption and favoritism when it comes to awarding multi-million-dollar contracts. Pushing back, the Del Mar Fairgrounds threatened to cancel the fair altogether.
But late today, we learned it looks like both sides are going to try to work it out. CBS 8's Kelly Hessedal was there for the update from Del Mar. A lot of back and forth in court today, but the bottom line is anyone who likes going to the fair, who planned on going, the board president here at the Fairgrounds said today they're going to try to make sure that the fair goes on as scheduled.
I want to assure everyone that we're doing everything possible to preserve a full carnival midway at the fair. We must ensure that whatever solution we come up with is fair and equitable and complies with the law.
So the lawsuit centers around the midway portion of the fair where there are all the games, the rides, some of the food vendors. Tally Amusement sued, claiming there's favoritism and unfair practices going on when it comes to the bidding process on these multi-million-dollar contracts. And the judge said today, based on the evidence presented so far, he says Tally has a case. So even though the agency that puts on the fair argued to the judge that time is of the essence, the fair is just a few months away, let us go forward with the company we chose, Ray Kamek shows. Let's put the fair on and we'll deal with the legal battle later. But the judge said no. He said the attorney for Tally Amusements has shown the court credible evidence. Here's what that attorney told reporters.
Yes, I think our legal position was vindicated. I think the evidence, as the court indicated, was pretty persuasive that something very wrong has happened out at the 22nd Agricultural District. But that doesn't mean Tally's not going to work, as the judge indicated, to make sure that a fair happens.
So what happens next? Well, both sides say they'll come together to try to reach an agreement for this year's fair. However, the board president made it clear when it comes to the legal battle, they will be filing an appeal. Kelly Hessedal, CBS 8.
A settlement tonight in multiple ongoing lawsuits over sewage spills from Mexico that have polluted South Bay beaches and waterways for years now.
Regional leaders are calling it a success. The agency in charge of the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant in the Tijuana River Valley has to improve infrastructure to stop sewage flows, closely monitor the situation, and promptly share information with stakeholders. The agreement is pending implementation of the EPA's Comprehensive Infrastructure Solution, which includes $300 million in federal money to fight the cross-border pollution.
Need gas tonight? Well, to get the best prices in San Diego County right now, you might turn to something like the Gas Buddy app.
But could the app come at an even bigger cost? It has come under fire recently over privacy concerns.
CBS 8's Brian White is working for you to understand just how they're sharing your information and ways you can safeguard your privacy.
Gas Buddy is a great resource, and we even have links on our website using an interactive map to find the cheapest gas around San Diego. But there are concerns about how the Gas Buddy mobile app is using your private information, some calling it a privacy nightmare.
In a world of sky-high gas prices, finding the cheapest gas is not only convenient, but it's a necessity for a lot of us.
We pay the highest gas prices in the nation. It's terrible.
It's not fair. It's a lot of money to pay for gas.
Many of us use the Gas Buddy mobile app as a user-friendly tool to check for the lowest gas prices around town. But concerns have been raised over privacy issues, like in this New York Times article, claiming the app collects mountains of your personal data and sells it to third parties, including information on your location and driving habits. I want to show you how to protect your privacy by opting out of location sharing. Just tap the user icon and then go to location settings, and then location privacy privacy and turn it off. If you use an iPhone, you can disable tracking altogether by going to Settings and then tapping Privacy, and then go to Tracking and turn that one off. You can also use the app without an account and without approving the location permission by typing your zip code into the search instead of letting the app pinpoint you automatically. Unfortunately, the app collects a bunch of other data too, including your name, address, email, phone number, IP address, and more. So turning off your location data may only make a small impact on what GasBuddy is able to share with third parties and advertisers. GasBuddy also has an optional feature called Drive, which collects and shares information about your driving habits with Arity, a company that is owned by Allstate. If you turn the Drive feature on, GasBuddy may share what it collects about your driving habits with insurance companies in order to predict your level of driver riskiness. To further dig for you, I reached out to GasBuddy for comment on these privacy concerns, and I've not heard back. And one last piece of advice. If you'd like to avoid sharing all that personal information, you can always avoid the mobile app altogether and just use their browser-based search engine to find the cheapest gas in your neighborhood. Working for you, I'm Brian White for CBS 8.
Thanks, Brian. And again, we use GasBuddy's information on our browser, but that's not the app version that tracks your information. In our next half hour, we're going to have the latest on Governor Gavin Newsom's gas rebate plan, including when it might put money back into your pocket. And remember, please, if there's a story you'd like us to look into, email us at yourstories@cbs8.com.
In New York right now, they know who they're looking for. Late today, naming the suspect in the subway shooting as Frank James.
Police say they found the U-Haul he rented in Philadelphia abandoned in New York, but he's still missing. Here's Elise Preston.
Terrified commuters poured out of a New York City subway train as it pulled into this Brooklyn station, moments after a gunman set off a smoke canister inside.
10 people were injured by gunfire, and an additional 13 were either injured as they rushed to get out of the train station, or they suffered smoke inhalation.
Police say a male suspect who was last seen wearing a green construction vest and a gas mask hit several people before getting away.
As detectives processed the crime scene, they recovered a 9mm semi-automatic handgun, extended magazines, and a hatchet. Also found is a liquid we believe to be gasoline and a bag containing consumer-grade fireworks and a hobby fuse.
This 15-year-old was on the train headed to school.
I didn't know what to do. I just got off the train. I stayed by some police officers.
John Ramsey, who lives in the neighborhood, saw people fleeing the station, some of them injured.
I'm mystified as to who would want to, hit this area.
Residents here in New York City have seen a rise in gun violence and overall crime during the pandemic. Good Samaritans sprung into action to help those who were hurt.
We saw New Yorkers in a difficult situation, an emergency, helping each other. That's the subway riders. That's who New Yorkers are.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who's working from home after testing positive for COVID, released a video statement.
We would not allow New Yorkers to be terrorized, even by a single individual.
A law enforcement official tells CBS News authorities have not ruled out terrorism as a motive as they search for the suspect. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Schools in that area were put on lockdown after the shooting. No transit workers were hurt. And tonight, law enforcement and city leaders everywhere are on high alert after that subway shooting in New York. The Bay Area Rapid Transit, for example, says its police are out in full force patrolling stations and trains. In a statement this evening, the San Francisco police chief said there is no credible threat to California.
A mother and her 3 kids are safe tonight after an early morning fire gutted their home in Encinitas. The flames and panic were captured by a neighbor's Ring camera and cell phone video that our reporter Dana Marie McNichol was able to get.
When that neighbor across the street realized what was happening, he ran over to his neighbor's house to help. You could hear that neighbor, Eric Dunn, yelling, "Fire, fire." He did make it all the way to the front door, found the woman who lives there with her 2 children at the bottom of a stairway. He helped them out of the house, but then went back in to get her 3rd child, who was still upstairs. Now, once everyone was safe, Dunn went to the back into the yard to save the family's dog. Flames from the home blocked his way out of the yard, so Eric improvised.
And he kicked out part of the fence so that they because they couldn't get out through the front door or through the gate. So luckily they were all okay, but the fire completely destroyed their entire house.
No one was hurt, but the woman who lives there runs a clothing business out of her garage and lost everything. A GoFundMe has been set up to help the family. We have the link at our help button. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A man accused of intentionally ramming a San Diego police motorcycle officer with a car was ordered to stand trial today. Authorities say the officer was trying to pull over Moises Correa last July. Instead, Correa reportedly stopped his car, slammed on his brakes, reversed the car, and intentionally hit that officer. Correa has pleaded not guilty to assault and robbery charges.
Homelessness is a major issue here in San Diego. The pandemic combined with the high cost of living means that more people are living on the street.
But as the baby boomers get older and become more vulnerable, the number of seniors living in poverty or seeking services is growing fast. CBS 8's Tim Blodgett met someone in that situation who shared a message of hope.
Always being on guard, never trusting a person, taking off, walking, and having no destination to where you're going was a real cold feeling in my heart.
Albert Zuniga was born and raised right here in southeast San Diego. For years, he struggled with the typical cycles of homelessness and drug addiction. Now at the age of 66, Albert is 4 years sober and living here at Father Joe's Villages. He credits turning his life around after he was arrested.
I was saved by the San Diego Police Department, and the words that the officer told me, he says, get help. You have a life out there. Just go out there and find it. You know, and those words stuck to me.
Albert's is a success story. As a senior, he was bouncing around shelters, transitional housing, and the streets before getting permanent residence at Father Joe's. But there are many older men and women 55 years and above who are experiencing homelessness on San Diego's streets. The 2020 Point in Time Count, the annual survey that tries to establish numbers and demographics of those experiencing homelessness, found that 27% of those living on the streets were the ages of 55 and above. Roughly 1,000 people, though the real number could be a lot higher.
It definitely feels as though that number is increasing. And as I say, it's both seniors as well as other individuals who have more medically fragile conditions.
Glenn Hilton is the community director for PATH in San Diego, an organization that is working to end homelessness.
McDonald's gift cards for you if you want.
Hilton helped take the count in late January for this year's survey. Those like council member Stephen Whitburn were shocked at the number of elderly living on the city streets.
There are so many people out there on our sidewalks, older people, people in their 70s, people on the sidewalks without a pair of socks or shoes on their feet.
While many solutions have been tried, homelessness remains one of the biggest issues of our time. The newest point-in-time count has yet to be released, but Hilton predicts the number has grown. For those older adults that are living in poverty, Albert has this to say.
Just don't give up hope, people. Go out there and find what you're looking for.
Tim Blodgett, CBS 8.